Hello, my name is Jill Bray-Bowen, CEO of Northwestern Medical Center, and your host of the NMC Health Beat Show, dedicated to discussing important healthcare topics of interest to our community. Today, I'll be talking with Dean Pelkey and Tony Treanor, two members of our community who have been involved with the Run for Jim since it got started. They're going to talk about this annual event and really share the importance with our community. So thank you both for being here. It's a great topic, and I love being part of this, the Jim Bashaw race. So tell me, and maybe ground our audience. In fact, folks know Jim Bashaw much better than I do, and I wish I had met this gentleman. But tell me a little bit about Jim Bashaw before we get started.
Sure. He was a fixture in the community, I'll say, on many levels. He was an educator at Bellows Free Academy, St. Albans, and also long-term girls basketball coach, and I should know but don't remember, numerous state championships. He was very well thought of in so many different ways. Good guy, tremendous sense of humor. He was a golfer, and I'm not a golfer, but I would see Jimmy quite regularly, and a lot of people call him Jim Bashaw. If you know him through Sherry, you call him Jimmy. And one story that comes to mind with him was, because I was part of Sherry's running group, we'd run every Sunday from her place on South Main Street. How's your golf game, Jim? And couldn't be better. He had just shot either par or one under par at Champlain and was on top of the world. So the next time I bump into him is a week or two later. How's your game, Jim? I quit.
Well, that would be golf.
So just a great guy. He and Sherry were married quite a number of years before they had kids, and so had him well into their marriage, and my understanding it wasn't for lack of desire to have children, but it, just the way it went, and the sun rose and set on those boys, and
Nice.
and he was a wonderful father to them. So that
He
a
touched
few
a
thoughts
lot,
that come to mind.
Yeah, he touched a lot of lives, that's for sure.
He absolutely did, and what was amazing was when we started the race years ago, was the support from his previous players that came back and had
Wow.
gone off to college, and just huge support for from them and their families and everybody. So it was really nice.
That's terrific. Well, thank you so much for being here to talk about this, and tell me about your interest in it. Why have you been involved since the very beginning, and maybe how long has it been going, and what brought you to your involvement?
So was it 18 years, right?
Yes.
This is the 18th
Yep.
year, and
Yeah.
and of course Tony was, as he mentioned, was part of Sherry's running group. She was
Right.
obviously an avid runner. A lot of people know Sherry and her running history, and so the group really kind of got together to say, hey, Jim got sick, and there was going to be a lot of treatment involved, and so the group got together, and actually I wasn't part of that running group, but I was pulled in because I was a friend, and
Sure.
so they all got together and said, hey, we want to do something, and as it turned out, we actually connected with the SAP run at that point 18 years ago, and sort of ran on their coattails for a few years. So
Great, that's great. So let's start right, when is the race this year? So let everybody know, when is it?
May 7th at the Collins Perley Sports and Fitness Center. We're very fortunate that that facility, Dave Kimmel and Tim Vians, have hosted us for many years, and it couldn't be more ideal with everything that's on site there, including pre-race registration. So.
Great. So what's going to happen on that day? What are the events, and what are the age groups you're looking at? So who can be involved in this event?
Virtually anybody, and they can be involved on a lot of levels. But talk about the kids race a little bit. Sherry, and I'm sorry she's not here today because
Yes.
she is probably the best. Not probably, she is the best spokesperson for
Sure.
the event, and because it's very near and dear to her heart. But she's in sunny climes, I understand. So Dean and I are pinch hitting for her. But the kids event from, I'm going to say, very young children up to probably 8 or 10 years old have events on the track. So it's a very safe situation there, from 100 meters, depending upon age, up to a mile in length.
Okay.
And so they all get awards for participating. The fee for children to participate is very reasonable. It's $10, and they do receive a memorial T-shirt from the race. So,
Nice.
you know, that is something that we about cover our costs on, but just feel it's important to have the kids involved. And then there's the walk and run, which is 5 kilometers, 3.1 miles.
Okay.
And that is pretty much your normal running race, 5K distance. We've got a great course, a very safe road race course that starts and finishes on the grounds of the Collins Perley, and there's also a walk involved. So most anybody that can, you know, go 3.1 miles can participate, and it's not about being the fastest, although we do attract some very good talent. It's about enjoying the day and participating for a very wonderful cause.
Terrific. That's excellent. So, so May 7th, and what time does the children start? Because they go off a little bit sooner.
8:30.
8:30, and then the adults or the older folks that are
Yep.
doing
9:30.
9:30. So 8:30, 9:30, and registration is at.
They can register day of the race. Our preference is that they pre-register, but either option, and they can also register on site the day before if anybody's in the community that just wants to sign up. If it is the day before or day of, we can't guarantee a T-shirt, you know, depending upon the volume versus
Sure.
what we've had made. But
Okay, $10 for children, and the adults
the adults is 30.
is 30. Okay, great. That's super. Okay, so yes, Dean, you
Yeah,
gonna add something to
the other
this?
event
What
we
do you
haven't
wanna say?
mentioned is part of the walk. We also, a few years ago, added a corporate challenge, which NMC has been involved in,
Yes.
and then we have some of the other local industries and businesses that, you know, the People's Trust Company, I think Mylan's done some stuff, some folks in the industrial park. So that's kind of reinvigorated the walks. For several years, it kind of had fallen, you know, by the wayside a little bit, just we didn't have as many participants, and now that's
Right.
really sort of invigorated things, and
Super.
so that's another way that people can participate in the race. So
Yeah, that's a great point. That has been a nice addition, and we're happy to be a part of that,
Yeah.
for sure. Okay, so let's talk about the prizes. I hear there's apple pies. So what's the story on these apple pies?
everybody loves the apple pies.
When we started doing the race at the Collins Perley, we talked about something that would be novel. There are pie races around the country. I don't know of any in our locale other than this, but we connected with the BFA culinary department, and they bake the pies and make the pies and freeze them. They're not, I guess, baked yet at that point. I'm not a pie maker, but
Obviously.
I'm a pie eater. But at any rate, I forget the exact number. I think it's like 55 pies we purchased from them. And all the age category winners receive a pie, and the overall winners of the running race. So the pies are for the running race, the 5-kilometer race. And we liked it on a number of levels. One, everybody seems to get a tremendous kick out of receiving one of the coveted pies, and the other is Jim Bashaw was part of the technical center when he was a counselor over there, and culinary arts is part of that, and it just seemed like a nice connection, and they've been wonderful to work with over the years. So.
Absolutely.
That's, that is fun when you see those pies come out, for sure. So the proceeds, let's talk about the proceeds to this, because you've done a lot of generous grants. So maybe one of you could talk about, or both of you talk about, where does this money go, and maybe just give some context of the why behind this.
I'm probably going to defer to Dean on this. I mean, I obviously know where it goes to such a wonderful cause. But Dean has been in charge of fundraising since day one, and
So the funds go to all the funds raised, whether it's sponsorship funds or registration fees that people pay. Once the expenses are covered, which are actually pretty minimal because we do get a lot of in-kind donations. So once all the expenses are covered, the money goes to the Jim Bashaw Foundation at Northwestern Medical Center, which is administered by the folks at Northwestern, and it goes to help people with catastrophic illnesses who have a financial need for some reason, whether it be that they have to travel a distance, staying overnight, whether it be for medical equipment, medicines, that type of stuff, and the fund has since the beginning has distributed $450,000 of grants over the years. Now, that didn't all come from the run because there have been other events that have gone to contribute to the foundation, like the Powder Puff football game. I don't know if they do every year, but they certainly have several times contributed to the fund. There's a bowl-a-thon. There's other things that go on. Not just the race. So, but the foundation or the Jim Bashaw Fund has really blossomed and I think become an important part of the community. We've had some great stories come out of it, and I think you've seen some of the letters from people that have received grants, and it's just amazing. Where they didn't know Jim Bashaw maybe, or they didn't know the fund. They knew Jim, but they didn't know the fund was there, and then all of a sudden they get this wonderful grant that helped them out of a financial situation. So it's really nice.
The stories have been, I'm honored to be at this event and speak at it, to talk a little bit about the types of grants that are given, and each year they are just so heartwarming that it's just helped people get over a hump, given them hope. A ride to their chemotherapy.
Absolutely.
Paying for their rent for a month just so that they can keep the lights on and kind of regroup. And it's been just a gift. It's been so powerful how it's touched the lives at most vulnerable moments.
Yeah, exactly. And I think as you mentioned, it's given people comfort, and we've received so many just nice little notes from families and individuals themselves who have been recipients. So it's very, very nice.
And just to mention a little bit on the inception of it, the first year we did the race was the SAP run in April, and we had approached Mike Bolaris to see if we could borrow the SAP run, if you will, to be the run for Jim. And we changed the format quite a bit. The race runs from Swanton to St. Albans, and we had a relay because not everybody can run 8.5 miles, and also had a shortened kids part of it. And Jimmy was ill at that point, and he did attend at the finish. But the turnout for him, just how well known he was incredible. And that year, our intention was to raise money for the family, for the Bashaw family, to help them with their financial needs during Jimmy's illness. And it really opened our eyes to there's so many expenses that often come along with a catastrophic illness that health insurance, for instance, does not cover. And so the next year, we decided that Jimmy had passed away in the meantime in August, that an awful lot of good came out of the race. Maybe we could continue on with it, and had the thought of having the foundation at the medical center, and approached Peter Hofstetter, who was very open to it, and we had a nice discussion. We very much wanted the usage of it to not be encumbered, to be broad, and you just described you and Dean described a lot of the aspects of the fund that I think have made it so helpful to people. And as you well know, it's administered through the social work department at the hospital.
Right. Is there anything else as we close our time in talking about this race that you want to make sure that we get out to the community so that folks show up on May 7th. We need everybody there because it's so
it's a fun event, and we talked about who can participate. The reality is it's a common thing to have complete families where you have younger children in the race, and then you may have a parent running in the race and a grandparent even walking in the race. So there's really there's something for everybody. It's, as you mentioned, there's a lot of energy that morning and during the race, and it's a fun time, and so we hope everybody comes out for sure.
Yeah, thank you. You're so right. I mean, it is for everybody. You call it a race, and there are winners, but it's really, more importantly, it's really the Run for Jim, and it's about what we're coming together for and the meaning of it, and giving and hope and for others during very challenging parts of their lives. And it's amazing to me that after 18 years, this event continues to get stronger, and more people are coming out. And it's spring, and we all need to be out, and it's a beautiful time of year to do this, and getting the children involved with their little thing, and everybody getting a little something. It's just a really overwhelming community event.
Yes.
So thank you for your dedication to keep this running, because it is so much about giving and loving and community and helping our neighbors and our friends. So thank you for your generous time that you give to make this so successful.
And thank you for the partnership with NMC.
Absolutely. It's an honor, really. Yes. It really is an honor.
It's been helpful for us, and it's a good partnership. So.
It is.
Thanks.
It is. Well, thank you both very much for joining us, and I'll be right there with you on May 7th, along with all of you that are watching. So bring your family, bring your friends. This is just an exciting and heartwarming community event. I'm Jill Bowen, the host of NMC's Health Beat Show. Thank you so much for tuning in to learn about the Run for Jim. You'll be glad that you were part of it. It's such a rewarding experience. Thank you.